Hello, what is up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and today we're going to be breaking down the official return of Omari Hardwick to power. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. This is the Raising Kanan season 3 trailer breakdown. For Power, because Starz just released the trailer earlier today, a few hours ago, and wow, what a trailer it is. Like, we got to see a glimpse of the direction of season 3. So we're going to share some of our thoughts on what we think might happen in this new season and what we can expect. I am joined by, of course, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
What's up, indeed? And I'm also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How are you doing, Dana?
Dana is really excited to talk about a show that's actually exciting. Even just the trailer, it looks better than some shows we've seen, all 2 seasons of.
Ouch. Whoa. Whoa, she throwing shots. Okay. But yeah, this trailer got me hyped. I'm not gonna lie to you. Raising Kanan is like my favorite of the spin-offs. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they have in store. But yeah, like, with the purpose of this video today is just for us to go through some of the things that we saw in the trailer and just add some of our insight, what we think might happen, predictions, what we think certain scenes mean for the series, and things of that nature. So I'm actually gonna pass it on to Miss Dana Abercrombie so she can take the lead here now, because she is an expert at these trailer reviews. So Dana, when you're ready, take it away.
I'm really not an expert, but okay, I'll take my flowers. So, this is essentially called The Truth is a Lie, which basically means that everything that we think is going to happen, we're speaking in truth. Raquel said she is done with that life. But is she really? So it's really about unraveling the secrets again. We had secrets from season 2. This one is we're going to start anew, but maybe we're lying again, which hence is the truth is a lie. This very interesting kind of opens up with Raquel announcing that she's done. She almost died at the finale. If it wasn't for Unique coming in and saving the day, she would have been done for. And this really caused her to reflect. And she's like, I don't want to, not necessarily I don't want to live this way anymore, but it's very dangerous. And so she is sitting down with the family, telling them essentially that she's done with what she's been doing and that everything now will be different. However, Kanan, as we all know, has been told this before, really does not seem to believe her. And also, we're carrying in the baggage from season 2 of him discovering that Omar X is his father. I forgot what the character's name was. Omar. Was it Omar?
Detective Howard.
Sowie. I said Sowie. Sorry about that. It's been a very long time. It's been like a year since Southside came to the rescue. So I am rusty. But so they're sitting down at the table, and he is very angry at his mother, and he is still carrying on that weight of, you lied to me. Everything that I've known about my life is just completely not fair, and I should have known the truth. This really does seem, at least from the trailer, that it picks up immediately right after season 1 ends. So right there from the beginning, what I want to know from both of you guys is, one, do you believe anything that Raquel is saying? Do you believe that this family can essentially start anew? Richard?
Well, I think they're going to definitely face some challenges. We know that Raquel, put them in a pretty bad spot by the end of the last season. You have the Italians are after them. So I'm very curious to see. Obviously, as we saw in that trailer, Tony Danza, he has an important role this season. And I'm sure he didn't take too kindly to them basically going after Sal and the others beforehand, which is why you saw at the end of last season, every character looked like they were in trouble. And I really like how they handled that in the season finale. So I think they're going to have some issues trying to change, because even though Raquel wants to come out the game, they aren't going to just let her just leave. They want her to be held accountable for the issues that she has caused. So we need to see how that plays out on the actual show. But no, I don't think everything is going to change the way that they think it's going to change.
What about you, Carrie?
So the funny thing that I caught in this trailer is, at the first half of the trailer, we get Raquel, giving her whole speech about leaving the game and putting it behind her, and she's not in it anymore and stuff like that. And then at the very end of the trailer, we get her giving another monologue where she's like, what I do is who I am, basically. So it's like, is she going to have a complete 180 and completely switch up, or is it the other way around? Because the trailer could also be trying to throw us off, and maybe she says those things at the start of the season, and then gradually she decides to quit. It could be something like that too. But I think it's more likely that after what happened in season 2, maybe I think she is going to be wanting to leave because she sees how it's affecting her relationship with Kanan. So I think maybe earlier on in the season, she decides to leave the game. But I think somehow she's going to get drawn back into it, because we see her meeting with the, forgot his name, but it's the Italian dude, I think. She's meeting with him. We see her in a few scenes with Unique and people rolling in. Yeah, that dude right there, on the screen right now. She's meeting with him. So that would suggest that she kind of gets back in the game a little bit, or there's some sort of deal that's made, So I think, where you can't just, like, when you wear the crown in this game, you can't just leave it like that. You're always going to get drawn back into it. You're always going to have that baggage that brings you back and attaches you to it. So I don't see Raquel leaving the game for good at all.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It's hard to leave something when it's really in your DNA. And I cannot see Raquel working a regular 9 to 5, even if it was like the boss of a CEO of some type of big time company. I really do feel that this is what she is born and meant to be. Moving on to the next section, which was really interesting and powerful in itself, we do have, Kanan. He is very angry, and now he's basically saying, I don't take nothing from her no more. He is essentially done with his mother. We see him having a conversation with Jukebox where he's saying that I'm trying to make my own money now. And so he's going to start up with his own business and his own little enterprise. The thing is, though, Jukebox really does want him to talk to his mother because she's been in that situation where, remember, her and her mother, complete opposites. Her mother was not exactly keen to her being gay. And we all know that relationship went to complete dog poop. We also know what her father, who essentially tried to beat her up when he found out, when he discovered that tape. So she really knows what it's like to have that fractured relationship. And it's always in season 2, and even in 1, come across that Jukebox kind of longs for what Kanan and Raquel have. So she's kind of really just completely against this, but Kanan, he is essentially going to make it on his own, and this is when, we'll kind of later on in the episode, but this is essentially what he's trying to do. Him and his friends are gathering together, and they're going to start their own gang. We also see him with the Spanish guy named Richard, Gary, best friend.
Famous
is still alive. The streets still need a body. He is still alive, though. But him and Famous are really close, and they're going to try to start this new enterprise, which ends up being something really interesting here. So what I wanted to know from both of you is, do you feel at this point Kanan has the wherewithal, the knowledge that he has obtained from his mother, to make it on his own, or do you feel that there is still more for him to learn, Gary?
Oh yeah, I think he's still going to be very much in the learning stage, because we've seen him try to be independent in the past and it kind of fail. Like for instance, when he spiked the packs or whatever, or he mixed the drugs wrong and stuff. Like he's had mishaps like that. So I feel like he hasn't reached that point where he is 100% Kanan yet. So I do think that we're gonna see him fail But I do believe that this is the season where we're also going to see him start to become the more reliable and the more, 100% Kanan that we know from original Power. I think this is going to be his progression to that point. And on top of that, I just want to say also, I wonder if, because it seems like he's forming his own crew here, from what we can see. I wonder if this leads to maybe where he meets Breeze, the character Breeze, because I think, we might be due seeing that character at some point, this season. But yeah, that's my thoughts. How about you, Rich or Dana?
Yeah, I think those are some great thoughts. As you alluded to, Kanan has made mistakes in the past, but he also did give Marvin some ideas last season as far as when Marvin started selling and making use of the environment that he was in. So I kind of feel like he's going to have some ups and downs going into season 3. And of course, the big elephant in the room is in regards to Famous, because Famous did kill somebody last season. All right. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out more about what happens next with that character, because that's something that Kanan is not aware of. And if Famous is going to be working with Kanan probably needs to know that information. So I look forward to seeing how that unravels. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Kanan's growth as a character more so. And of course, now that he has this vendetta against Raquel, he really is going to try to make the game his own. So I look forward to seeing how he actually goes about that and ends up becoming the boss that we know he is on the original Power show. So looking forward to it for sure.
So after that, I'm jumping around just a wee bit. It does cut to saying that, Southside is real dangerous. And, Raquel has the knowledge and the wherewithal and kind of that smarts to survive it. Kanan is still a kid trying to still survive and not really understanding the depths of the depravity of how this business works. This is a very dangerous part. And there is a moment in time, with every neighborhood where it does get really bad. And Southside is going to see a lot of crime activity. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about, because it really directly impacts Kanan's life, is this moment right here. So we're introduced to these two characters. These characters, if you're not aware, this is the very infamous Wendell Pierce from The Wire. We know of The Wire. We love The Wire. And also we have Erica Woods. She is from Blue Bloods. It was announced last year that they have joined season 3. I want to kind of talk about their relationship specifically with Kanan and how this can cause another rift with him and Raquel. Pierce, he plays Ishmael Snaps Henry. He is a living legend of the streets, a former bank robber and OG dealer who now acts as a mentor and a financier for up-and-comers like Kanan. The woman that we see there is going to play his wife and his partner in the business. Snap's wife and partner, not Kanan. But that is his wife and his partner, and the love of his life, known as Stephanie Pop Henry. And they work as a team, and as I stated, they help Kanan, along with other people who are up and coming, really get into this business. So this is why when we see the scene of them kind of all together, he's looking at his beeper. We see a beeper, because remember, it's still the 90s, and it says, ooh, business is booming. So I'm going to assume that he really teaches him the game and how to form this group, and him and Famous, in order to become successful in the business. And of course, he is someone that we also have to keep an eye on, because again, it goes with the theme of the truth is a lie. Both of y'all want to know, do you feel, I know it's very early and I know we're just looking at images, but do you think that this could be a trustworthy character, and how exactly could this negatively or positively impact his relationship with Raquel? Gary, Richard?
That's a very good question. I think this is going to be a relationship that Kanan can learn from. Although I also think, he does need to watch his back and who he decides to trust. It, like you said, it's early to really tell where this relationship is going to go. But because you mentioned that this guy is also a financier of what Kanan's doing, my guess is that if Kanan has any issues with money, well, that kind of makes the relationship a little bit rocky, I would think. So I think that Kanan is going to have some issues with this character. It may start out great in the very beginning, but as Kanan has certain issues he runs into starting out, I think he's going to rely on this guy a lot more, and that may become an issue between those two characters. And eventually, I'm just saying, maybe Kanan has to eventually take this character out. I mean, I have no idea where they're going, but I'm looking forward to it because I am familiar with that actor and his work on The Wire. So I think he will bring something very interesting to the show. But I look forward to seeing where they're going with that for sure.
Gary.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to see Wendell Pierce in this show. I know they also had they had the dude who played D'Angelo Barksdale as well in Raising Kanan. So there's quite a collection of great actors in this show. But as far as the characters, Ishmael and Steph, yeah, I think they can bring a lot of new and interesting conflict to the series. And Kanan, he is not, he's not a full grown up yet, so he's still at that stage where he's impressionable. So these people could like influence him in a way that maybe Raquel doesn't like, and I kind of see that throughout this season, maybe there's going to be a big rift between Kanan and Raquel, and she might be trying to like mend things. But Kanan just isn't interested. So if she sees him, with these other people and he's, learning from them, I feel like that's gonna, make her jealous and out of control a little bit. So I want to see what the dynamic will be there with Raquel, and these two characters.
I kind of agree as well. And I also wonder if they're going to try to, adopt Kanan in a way. So, give him some advice. And then, as you guys said, money involved, it really does make things very tricky. Could he be in over his head? Will Raquel have to come in and save the day? Because even though, they may be arguing at this point, she genuinely does love her kid. This is not a thing where I can't stand you, get out of my house, I never want to see you again. She genuinely loves him. And I do believe that no matter where he goes, she will also make sure that she knows everything, whether it's somebody following him and reporting back, or even her herself. She will make sure that she knows everything that he's going through. And maybe he needs this in season 3, that independence and maybe to be screwed over by someone he trusts to make him the crazy Kanan that we know. Because the crazy Kanan that we know is not the one that we have in this show. So he needs to be screwed over a couple of times, a little bit. Remember, this is a cold-blooded guy who ended up killing his own son, but somehow is terrified of Jukebox, which I hope we get as well. But we have not gotten to the Jukebox part. Later on, after, Kanan declares that he worked for himself, and we learn that you don't really work for yourself, but right now he's feeling himself, so he works for himself. We switch over to, remember, the wheelchair guy from season 2, the finale that saved the brother. Remember, he was shot. He was bleeding all over the place. And essentially, he was knocking on doors and he was going to die. We see them in a car together, driving. So that relationship seems to carry on from this into this season. Without any kind of spoilers, we do know that he will have a larger part. So, yay. And it'll be interesting to see those two bond, or if there is a bond, if they can't stand each other, or if they end up working something out. And then he's part of the gang life, or not gang life, but like drug dealing life as well. We don't know. But after that, we do have something that is really interesting, and that is this wonderful scene right here, if I have it, between Unique and Raquel. Unique and Raquel have a very interesting relationship. We do know that they start working together. We don't know what else they start doing together, but we do know that they start working together. And we do see a horde of people, masked, as you see, guns blazing, come in and we don't know whether or not they're there to kill Unique. We don't, or Raquel. We don't know who sent them, but it does transition over into this scene, which we do see. Tony Danza's character comes back and basically confronts Raquel and is like, I don't do this anymore. And he's like, oh, you're going to work for me. So how do you feel that this changes the dynamic with Raquel being the leader of season 1 and 2, to now having to work for Tony Danza's mobster character and probably paying off the debts of killing? We had Sal and the other guy. Granted, they were both stupid. They kind of deserved to die. They kind of killed their own selves. But now she's in debt to him. And this is when we get to that part where I don't want to be the dealer no more. I want to be free. Could he be the one that leads her back into that lifestyle? Or is Raquel kind of the person where you don't lead her into anything? She chooses to. And she could be working him for all we know. So, Gary?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I like your theory on that. I do think that could be the case where the Tony character is the one that kind of gets her out of retirement. But that brings to question also what was Raquel and Unique doing together as well. Like, are they in a relationship now, or are they like, just working on some sort of other business outside of the drug game? I don't know, but yeah, it makes things interesting because we know the Italians were a big part of last season, and I think having Raquel now having to like work for the Tony dude, that could be a very interesting thing where it's like, she's forced to sell drugs now. Like, she doesn't want to, but she's forced to. And I want to see how that would affect the character, because I feel like she would have like a power complex, like where she wants to be in control. But, obviously this guy is above her, and I don't think she would feel comfortable with that, because we know Raquel likes to do things her way. She likes to be the boss chick, so having someone like that over her, I think she would struggle with that. And I think she would be looking for a plan B or a way out of, this whole thing. So I can't wait to see, how that plays out.
Richard?
Some good thoughts by Gary. Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, in regards to Unique and Raquel, I know there's a lot of people that was hoping something would happen with these two characters. So I look forward to seeing what actually is going to happen with these two characters. I know when people saw this trailer, they probably were very scared when they saw this particular scene, because a lot of people love Joey Badass. He's done a phenomenal job as Unique on the show, but you're always wondering, is this character in danger of getting taken out? And obviously, I think some people are going to be concerned about that going into this upcoming season, especially after seeing this in the trailer. But what it essentially looks like is, yes, like you said, Dane, it looks like Tony Danza is going to have some work for Raquel. I do agree that Raquel she was a boss all of season 1 and all of season 2. So for her to be working for anybody, I kind of think she's going to definitely not want to stay in that particular position. The other thing is, the main guy on the Italian mafia that pretty much set the hit to go after them, this guy is still alive. So I'm pretty sure that, Tony Danza's character wants them to keep the peace. He doesn't want them to retaliate. But after what happened last season, there is going to at some point be some retaliation coming, because, I mean, they killed a lot of the people that was on Raquel's team, almost took out, Marvin, almost took out Louis. So I kind of feel like, yeah, there's going to be some retaliation coming, but obviously the question is, how are they going to retaliate? And then we also know that Unique also helped them out, as far as helping out Raquel and them. So he is considered an enemy as well now. So I would like to see where they're going with all of this. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what happens going into season 3, because there's a lot in that trailer. And I think a lot of people, if they recall what happened in the finale, they're going to be curious to see, how do they hit back? Are they even able to hit back and what is Tony Danza's character going to play a role in all of this? Because obviously he doesn't want there to be any more issues between both of them, but there's still going to be an issue. So let's see what happens from here on out.
I agree. And one of the things that was really interesting that Tony Danza did say was that he needs someone that he can count on. He purposely went to Raquel so that could be a budding relationship that works for both of them. And, maybe he takes out her enemies, she takes out his enemies, and that's how she's able to build up her empire. And then we get to that last scene of her essentially, I'm going to assume she ends up probably owning the South Side Shopping Plaza, and she's able to run different businesses out of there. So we don't know yet, but that to me, that last scene seemed to be really interesting because that's when she made her big speech about how, this is really a part of her and she can't really walk away from that. Another thing that was really, sorry, trying to get rid of the picture. Okay, another thing that was really interesting was after she's like, I'm done. And he's like, no, you're not. We do know he goes back, Kanan. It shows a clip of him going back to the streets and recruiting the kids. And there's a guy who I'm going to assume works with Kanan, who is on the bike, and he is having that amazing high-speed chase with, I'm going to assume, the cops. And that's when we see he does this cool little thing where he leans all the way over to the side, his hand grazes the ground like he's somewhere in Fast and Furious. So we're, again, a lot of action with this series that we've always had, but that seems really cool. So yay to that stunt man. But here's the part that's really interesting. We do see Jukebox getting back into the car with the cop. So we know that relationship is still there. We don't know, again, what it ends up happening for this year, but we do know that they are still seem to be close and tight. But this is one of the things that really popped out to me that made me so happy was this little glimpse here of Jukebox out there singing, and she's being happy, and she's using her voice. And that's one of the things that we didn't get from Jukebox is happiness. So we do see her in her zone. So do you guys think for right now that we're going to see more of a positive side to Jukebox? She is with the cop who could be providing her really great, with advice, could be lifting to her, all of her other friends. She's not doing very well. The other girl died. So this could be like a positive turn for Jukebox. She did seem a bit happier. We saw clips of her talking to Kanan, telling him to work out the relationship. So, Gary?
Yeah, I think she's due some happiness because at the end of season 2 she lost her mother. So all of these things are going to be weighing heavy on her. I think she lost her girlfriend and then her mother, and the whole trauma that she experienced with her mother too, where she didn't approve of her lifestyle choice, her sexual activity and stuff. So I think that Jukebox is definitely due some happiness in this season. And I think I think there was a shot of her with Uncle what was the other uncle called again? There's Marvin and Lulu, right? Yeah, I think there was a shot of her with Lulu. And Lulu has also lost someone, so maybe these two characters will connect and bond over music or something, and maybe this kind of gets her back doing what she loves, with the singing, because we know that she's the happiest when she is singing, and all of this begs to question, how does she become the Jukebox that we know in OG Power? Because that Jukebox is like cold-hearted, like her heart is made of coal, like so I want to know, how does she get to that point? Because in here we see she has that happy moment, and to like that happiness you see on her face, like it's like pure hearted happiness, like, and I just want to see how she changes, how she goes from that to the wicked lady she was in OG Power, because I do feel like there is going to be more tragedy in her life, beyond what has happened to her already. But hopefully this season, we before she does experience more tragedy, hopefully we get to see her in her element doing what she loves best, because those scenes are always like great to see.
Richard?
So that's a very interesting take, because I personally think that what they showed of Jukebox in this trailer is a red herring. And to go back to the line that Dana said, where she said the truth is a lie, right? That's what they're telling you in the trailer. I think that Jukebox, she could have some positive things that happen this season, but to go to Gary's point, we have to see what leads to this character becoming the ruthless character that she is in the original Power. And I think that, what I like about the trailer is they didn't show too much of Jukebox. You did see her talking to Kanan, telling him to make up with Raquel. You see that shot of her singing. But again, it's still a mystery as to what is going to happen with this character, because there is going to be some type of falling out after what happened last season. You made mention of the mom being killed, and obviously she did not have a good interaction with her the last time they spoke last season. So I mean, obviously she's going to be a little bit conflicted. She probably, obviously she understands she probably didn't want the character to die, but she didn't like how that interaction ended. So, and then of course she did make up with Marvin. They are working together to try to repair their relationship. So if I had to make a guess, and I hate to do this, I think something bad when Marvin dies eventually, right? Because I'm going to make a guess that Marvin is at some point going to die. And that may be the last thing that ends for Jukebox to make her turn and go on a different path. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe not this season. Maybe going into season 4, or maybe it's a situation where the entire season Jukebox has a lot of positive things happen. Then right towards the end of the season, something really, really, really bad and tragic happens. I can see that going in that direction as well. But what I'm saying is that definitely be mindful of the trailer, because like you both alluded to, a lot of stuff that they're showing you in that trailer, some of that stuff could be misleading and it could be going in a different direction. With the stuff with Jukebox, I think it is misleading, because while I do agree she deserves some happiness, we know how the character ends up. So obviously, if it is happy, it's not going to be forever, because the character eventually is going to go down a dark path. So I want to see where they're going with that. But yes, she did lose her girlfriend, did lose her mom. So let's see what happens next. But it's going to be interesting, no doubt about that.
No, please don't kill Marvin, man. That's my favorite character.
Well,
I listen.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him die either. I don't want to see him die. I don't want to see Lulu die. A lot of these characters I don't want to see die, but they're obviously not. They do not exist in the original Power show. So something does happen. Maybe they all don't die, but something does happen where they are no longer a part of the game. So we definitely need to get an explanation as to what happens to those characters.
One of the questions that I did want to ask really quickly was going back to Unique's character. We do know, yay, Southside, but why do you think that this season will actually explain why he saved Raquel?
I think it is going to be an explanation. The other thing we do know is that Unique's brother is a part of this season, because they announced their casting as well. And and the thing is that I'm pretty sure Unique's brother, he may not approve of Raquel working with Unique if that's what she's going to be doing. He may not approve of that. And that's because they did say in the trailer, it is alluded to that she's working with Unique now. He may not approve of that. And that may be a point of contention right there. So I want to see where they go with that conflict. But I do think they are going to answer the question about why he saved her, because by the end of the last season, he also turned on these guys as well. And that's why I think, okay, let's see where this is going, because clearly there's beef between the groups. So, but yeah, I do think they're going to answer that question.
Gary?
Yeah. So I do think I think we'll see why, because it has to be more beyond, he just takes a liking for Rock and wants to be with her or something. Like it has to be more than that. I don't know if it's a calculative move by him where he's trying to, maybe he sees strength in numbers. I don't know, like because Southside and everything. Maybe he just wants to be a team, and then they'll have enough numbers to contest the Italians and the other groups that come around. Maybe he sees it that way. But we know Unique to be strategic as well. Just as strategic as Rock, because they built him up to be the opposition. In the first season, like he was very strong and calculating, and he was a good decision maker. So I do think he has a broader plan. And Richard mentioned his brother, coming back, the new character and stuff. And I do think that is gonna, bring along some conflict in the situation too. I do think that probably he won't approve of how his brother's been doing things. Especially if he's been away. He's probably I'm assuming he's an older brother. So like usually older brothers have their own way of doing things, and like if the younger brother doesn't follow their example, they kind of feel a certain way about it. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of like brotherly tension like that, because he's not following his lead and he's doing things with Raquel and stuff. So that's going to be all interesting to see. And I guess we'll see Unique's character kind of tested, and we'll see where his loyalties actually lie. So that's what I'll say on that.
So kind of to piggyback off of this, because it wasn't in the trailer, people probably don't, or maybe they do know, Unique's brother is going to be played by Grantham Coleman. He was originally in FX The Americans. He's a black guy. He's a black guy, obviously, but he's going to be played. The character's name is Ronnie Mathis. And like you stated before, he is the older brother. The reason why we've never seen him was that he was in prison this entire time, and he just got released. So he is kind of known as very stoic, but he is shockingly ruthless. He is basically what a Jukebox is in the future. He's kind of described as amoral. IMMARAL. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But he is also conscienceless, unyielding, and vindictive. So he does have some type of vengeance that he's going to bestow upon on season 3. We don't know exactly how he was in prison, but we do know that it could directly impact Unique and what Unique has set up in not only Queens, but it can also trickle down to Raquel. So that is what, the other dynamic that's really not shown in the trailer could bring. And, also there was this shot of people getting kidnapped, at gunpoint. We don't know. These are the same men from previously. But as we stated before, Queens is very dangerous. And with him coming back, this could, amp up that danger to that. So that seems kind of be overall everything that they presented in like a 2-minute trailer. Was there anything else? Oh, there was one part where we do get at the end. It seems to be the FBI, maybe, but they are keeping tabs on Raquel, and she's being watched very clearly. We do know that Omar Epps' character is a cop, but this seems to be something that is completely over his head. And Unique and Raquel and everyone else involved could be start facing some serious charges. We could, Power is known for the Ricos. We could start getting some Ricos, and how that ties in with the Italian mob. And we could probably have someone who's a snitch who could go to the police. We don't know. There's a lot of things that opens the door. But what did you guys think of that photo of basically someone's running around taking pictures of Raquel? Richard? Gary?
I think it's pretty much all eyes are on Raquel to see what she's doing. that's why I say, I'm not really sure who that is. It could very well be some people that we were introduced to last season. Well, Howard's cop friend who has been around since the beginning of the show. Maybe it's her taking photos or somebody, but clearly they still have their eyes on Raquel. So even though she wants to get out the game, there are people that still are watching her very closely. So she needs to be very careful. But yeah, I have no idea who it is, but I will say it looks as though there's going to be a lot of pressure on her this season. And I'm looking forward to see how she responds to that pressure. Because again, we know prior to this season, Raquel has been a boss. She's been in charge, done a phenomenal job. Fatima has done a phenomenal job in the role of the character. So I want to see where they're going to go because she's definitely going to be tested in season 3, it looks like, based on the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Gary?
Yeah, so I'm wondering like how true to the times they're gonna be with the show, like because I know that around that time is when I believe in the story it's like 92, 93 or something like that. Around that time you had Mayor Giuliani get elected in New York, and he started really cracking down on crime. And a lot of rappers talk about this actually, where like things actually changed, like the drug game changed around that time because the cops were coming down so heavy on crime and everything, and it was to combat, the Italian mob and other street gangs and stuff. So I wonder, and 50 Cent himself talks about it a lot, how it affected life in Queens too. So I wonder if they're going to put in a lot of these references, to this time, and it would make sense that, Raquel is then being watched, by law enforcement and stuff, and possibly a task force wanting to put cases on people. Because I follow a lot of hip hop lore, and people are always talking about, the game changed, like it wasn't the same as the 80s once this era kind of came in, so I wonder if they're gonna, be true to real life, and maybe show that crackdown on crime and stuff, like, and how maybe they'll do something with Burke and Howard to show this, as well, like to show their colleagues, or their bosses are like really a pressure to kind of crack down on the crime. And this will put more pressure on Howard too, because, he is a cop and he has a son that he knows is, not living a moral life. So, how is he going to deal with that, and how is he also going to deal with the fact that Raquel is being investigated, if he gets knowledge of that, is he going to help? Or is he gonna, well, he's already kind of broke bad a little bit, I think, in the last season. So who knows, what he's gonna do next. But yeah, I think it will be interesting to see if they show that, that tough crackdown, that stiff kind of crackdown on crime that happened in the 90s.
For those who don't know, this is when we got the 3 strikes law, where your 3 offenses, you go away. This is also when stop and frisk was announced. This is when this is Amadou Diallo, that kind of time period where the cops were just they weren't given any laws to follow, and they were just a wild, wild west. People were being murdered left and right. The police brutality was horrendous, and they was giving free reign over the city. So they, that can cause a lot of problems for Raquel. I never even thought about that, but it can cause a lot of problems for Raquel or anyone who is essentially just black and a male who happens to be in New York City at that time. So yeah, we do have that was going on. That brings in a whole different dynamic that we really didn't get to see in any of the Power universes. So this again could have its own unique twist to it. So lastly, I just wanted for both of you, was there anything else that you really wanted to bring up? Because there was a lot of things that wasn't shown in the trailer. Marvin is trying to do good. Will he continue on his positive path, or will he end up being reckless and ruthless again? will, Jukebox get over the, I don't want to say get over, that's so terrible, like get over it. Will Jukebox find peace? The fact that, her mother is dead and that is a life that she'll never get to know again. Will we have the mob that's coming in? And so there's different things that they really didn't address. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to kind of address before we leave?
Um, yeah, so I really want to know what Marvin's arc is going to be, because for Lulu and Kanan, it seems like they're kind of mad at Raquel. That seems to be like the arc that they're going to go on because we see Lulu, he says something about Raquel in the trailer. Um, but how does Marvin feel about what happened? Because he got shot. That guy had to save him at the house and stuff, at the housing complex. So is he gonna, resent what happened to him? Or is he just gonna, be happy that he's still there and maybe try to, repair his relationship with Jukebox because now it seems like, they're kind of cool again, I guess. And Jukebox lost her mother, so Marvin kind of has to, step in and offer her support, because that's not an easy thing to just have your mother back in your life and then she's gone like that, So yeah, I want to see how he deals with that, with that the whole fatherhood role in Jukebox's life. But besides that, um, I don't know, man. I'm just excited. I just want to kind of watch it and be surprised because I love this show so much. I'm sure they've got some great stuff in store for us and some surprises for us. This was a very good trailer. They gave us quite a lot in 2 minutes to break down and analyze. So I thank them for that because sometimes they can be very vague with the trailers, but they did a great job with this one. So thank you to Starz. But that's pretty much all I've got to say.
Richard?
Yeah, I will say, it was a fantastic trailer. Once again, I like the choice of music. I like the attire that all the characters are wearing. Matches the 90s to a T. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with a lot of characters. Obviously, the one thing I will say, I am looking forward to seeing what happens with Lulu because this is a character that we know that his love interest, Ziza, got killed last season. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to deal with that whole falling out situation. Not to mention, he has a very strained relationship with Raquel. So I want to see where they're going with that character because it feels like the last 2 seasons, he got put in his place by Raquel. I want to see what happens with that character moving forward, whether or not he still continues to pursue the music thing, or does he just admit that he has to stay in the game that he's already in. So let's see where they're going. And yeah, like Gary mentioned, I do want to see what happens with Marvin's character. His journey will continue in season 3. But overall, yeah, I look forward to it. December 1st is still a while, so quite a while to wait, but hopefully it will be worth the wait.
Oh yeah, I hope we get more Nas Illmatic songs on this because that was a classic album that came out around this time where the story is set. So that would be perfect.
I agree.
To have more.
Yeah, just you want to say I really like this trailer a lot. A lot of energy within it. There's a lot of things that they revealed and a lot of things they didn't reveal. They answered nothing, but somehow we know they're going to address something. I do look forward to what's going to happen with the female cop because the last time, remember, she was the one who everyone was going after. They was going to fire her essentially. They was going to get rid of her, and we do see her again. So she's not fired. I don't think so. I don't know. But I would love to see that dynamic between her and Jukebox. And I wonder, in order for her to get back into the good graces, will she have to give them really credible information? Will they take her seriously? Does that mean that she has to betray Jukebox? Also going with the Lulu situation, now that Ziza is dead, does that mean Jukebox gets her place back? Because essentially, remember, all those songs that she wrote went to Ziza because she was the pretty girl and she dressed, feminine. So now does that mean when we saw her singing, she gets her place back, and that's how she maybe ends up getting famous and a little, starlight to her name. And then we see her going towards that. We do know that she loves music, and that is something that always carried her, even in the adult version. There was that scene where I think she kidnapped Tariq, but they were listening to music and she was singing along and really happy. So we got to see what happens there. So overall, I really loved this trailer and I loved everything that they've done. So I guess I'll hand it back to Gary to finish us off. That's what she.
Excellent. She did such a wonderful job with that I forgot I was like, supposed to host it and stuff. But yeah, Dana, thank you very much. You're the entertainment expert. You did a great job with this, like, breaking down the trailer and walking us through it. So I want to give my flowers to you for that. And yeah, to the people listening, Force is on a break this week, so this is kind of like the fill-in, the stand-in now, because we're almost an hour now, so you get some extra content for you guys, and us talking about the Raising Kanan trailer. I'm sure everyone was very excited about that today, when it was released, and I can't wait till December 1st when the show does return. And I think we're in for something special, with this one. So big shouts to Starz, for blessing us with this week. And, for the people who have been following us as we cover Force, we will be back next week to cover episode 9. So, do be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, also check out some of the other content on the channel. We also cover Walking Dead. Dana's doing a lot of, interviews and entertainment news at the moment. She's been to a lot of events lately. So, check out the entertainment channel. Go ahead, Dana.
We'll have Loki. We have interviews with the Loki, not obviously the cast, but the writers and directors. So yay.
There you go, Loki. Yeah, I need to ask you about that actually, because I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, Loki, that's going to be on the entertainment channel. So check that out. And we also have the Koalition gaming channel. We got some stuff coming there. And also, you can check the website, thekoalition.com, Koalition spelled with a K. So go ahead and check that out. And, that is going to be it for this trailer reaction. We will be back next week, of course, to cover Power Book 4 Force. So we'll see you guys then. Take care.